Level 5 Gundam, 17 hours.
Level 4, 3 days.
5 levels.
Level 3, 2 hours a night.
Up to 140 parts.
Level 1, Gundam, 1 hour.
Near endless articulation.
Level 5, 10 hours.
Gundam, what's your level of commitment?
Is Gunpla art? Are Gunpla toys? Is the act of assembling a model kit a form of artistic expression? Can a television series with over 40 years of war is bad plot lines under its belt still have something to say, other than buy things, you filthy consumer? Steven Snyder, Doctor of Philosophy at Bogazici University in Istanbul, and author of the book End of Art Philosophy in Hegel, Nietzsche, and Danto, writes, quote, "Because art serves no other purpose than that of spirit, when spirit no longer needs it for its highest expression, art falls off the scope of history's highest calling. Analogously, it is as if the sculptor is no longer needed when the sculpture is finished." End quote. So, if Gunpla is art, at what point have we, as unwitting artists, exhausted our purpose to keep making the same giant robots over and over again? Does innovation for innovation's sake justify high-grade size kits with a bit better detail? For that matter, what do the screenwriters and mechanical designers have left to prove after 40 years of giant robots and space politics? Besides, they're just advertisements to sell cheap collectibles to children, right? Take, for example, the real grade Astray red frame, as featured in that one video you probably watched from forever ago. It's a beautiful, world-class model kit with excellent articulation, wonderful surface detail, and a lovely duotone color scheme. It also has a broken V-fin, loose shoulder armor, and several missing parts that I laugh off as battle damage to coincide with a pitiful first attempt at wear and tear. It's taken a few tumbles off my shelves over the years, and despite its age, I still love its, shall we say, special charm. Durability has never been the real grade line's strong suit. And because their load-bearing structures were designed by German spacecraft engineers, you'll be searching for pinhead-sized connection points to reattach most fallen parts. When I think of toys, I think of plastic caricatures that children use as small hammers and nose-cleaning utensils. The thought of anyone under the age of, say, 10 handling a completed real-grade Zeta makes my teeth clench into a fine powder. I wouldn't exactly consider these kits products of toy advertisements either. Not strictly, anyway. As I mentioned in my Why I Build video, I got my first kits because I was bored in a new city with nothing to do. Now I have a YouTube, Twitch stream, ankle injury, Discord server, an MRI I needed to reschedule twice, then cancel when an actual plague happened, Instagram and Twitter followings, Patreon because I'm a filthy capitalist, and oh how the turntables. But if it weren't for me just wandering into a local hobby shop and saying, "Hey, this is neat enough for me to exchange $20 in US currency for," none of this would have happened. For better or worse. Which on its own should be proof enough that the argument that Gundam anime series are just toy advertisements doesn't hold up. In fact, one could even argue that the kits are more effective at advertising the shows, though conventional wisdom seems to say otherwise. In his book, The Blockbuster Toy: How to Invent the Next Big Thing, author Gene Del Vecchio remarks, quote, "In today's sophisticated world, it's not enough for professionals to be strictly toy makers. timbering at a bench with a new contraption. Competition to inspire a child's request and a parent's purchase intent is immense, and the marketing dollars spent are formidable. Today's toy makers must also be toy marketers." End quote. Bandai, of course, was marketing toys based on household names well before the advent of Gundam plastic model kits. In 1963, they launched a line of licensed Astro Boy toys. 16 years later came the launch of Gundam, and its subsequent cancellation, before the rise of Bandai's model kit line based on the show proved strong enough to keep the series afloat. This was actually by design. Sunrise Studio Company Limited was founded in September of 1972 and sought to de-emphasize individual creators in favor of focusing on a collective group of producers for each work, bringing to light the semi-anonymous credit for Hajime Yatate attached to so many of their works. They also chose early on to focus on giant robot shows, since the market for manga adaptations and other popular subgenres was already occupied by other studios at the time. According to some members of the studio, the idea from the start was to take on the mecha genre because even though it was harder to animate, they lended themselves well as a vehicle for merchandising. You can't really blame them for wanting to explore new avenues to make money either. See, Sunrise was founded by ex-members of Mushi Production, the studio headed by legendary artist and director Osamu Tezuka, which was tailspinning into bankruptcy after the studio continuously worked within a painfully limiting production budget in an effort to outbid other studios for work. While it got their name on things, low profitability wasn't enough to keep the lights on, and the studio shuttered a short time after Sunrise's founding. Sunrise's multifaceted business strategy worked pretty well, or whatever, I guess, as they grew into a multimedia juggernaut and eventually merged with longtime partner in plastic, Bandai, in 1994. Both parties hell-bent on global plastic toy domination. Fast forward to July of 2010, and you get the culmination of 30 years of plastic model innovation and marketing wizardry. The real grade RX-78 Gundam. The crack marketing team was very excited to show off their shiny new plaything. Marketing materials buzzed with the promise of new realistic decals, 3 different kinds of runner gates, new refinements in multi-layer injection molding, and a press release with more marketing guff than an erotic novel written by whoever writes ad copy for Raid Shadow Legends, probably. I was even lucky enough to acquire a sizzle reel of sorts showcasing the highlights of the real grade line, produced by an alleged former Bandai engineer. Let's take a look. In commemoration of the 30th anniversary, a new brand of Gundam models has been created. RG, Real Grade, is a series that pursue realisticness to create accurately high detail, action, and gimmicks with a pre-constructed inner frame to make assembling fun and easy. The interior construction up till now has changed by the advanced MS joint frame. The system injection has evolved even further for use within the interior frame of RG. Just by removing parts from the frame, the interior frame gimmicks and movement range that surpasses master grade has been achieved, with the number of parts on the frame reduced down to only 12 items, allowing a stress-free construction. The high-quality decal to express the realistic texture, the realistic decal, with the foil and marking merged as one. A brand new decal that has been compressed down to a single sheet. The decal with special material will give a weightier feel to it, with more metallic expression. By expressing the precise part separation linked to the exterior parts of RG-1144 RX-78-2 Gundam, an exterior color separation that seems realistic has been achievable. Even the pickiest of modelers will approve of the result. Special gates have been developed to improve the quality of the finished product. The Canopy Gate minimizes the whitening of the plastic as you cut parts off the frame. The undergate prevents leaving traces of the gate on the parts surface, and the wedge gate allows you to work with the separated parts easier, and the combined use of these gates directly improves the quality of finished product at plane construction. The reel system is a way to express the miniature-sized machine, pursuing reality of the machine to be enjoyed on the top of your palm. Early reel grades have some of these things. You can chalk most of this up to simple marketing fluff to push products, except for the talk of simplicity, that is, which is an outright lie. So why cram so many different gimmicks into such a small package, undercutting the cost of larger master grades? It's simple, really, because gimmicks sell. Which might explain the direction and popularity of Bandai and Sunrise's first post-merger venture, mobile fighter G Gundam. Speaking with Otaku USA in February of 2011, showrunner Yasuhiro Imagawa shared that the financial backers of the show forced a pivot from a more militaristic style show to the campier tournament series that became G Gundam. This was due to an already declining popularity of Gundam as a whole in the early to mid-90s, so the bean counters decided that a reboot and a new continuity would be the best chance at injecting new life into the franchise. And as it turns out, they were right. Viewership outpaced the Real Sad Hours series Mobile Suit Victory Gundam that preceded it upon release. And stateside, Bandai reported in an earnings call in late 2002 that it was their most watched series from any of their franchises in the West during the North American release period. It was campy, crass, and had lots and lots of spandex. Gimmicks, as one wise and intelligent big-brain video person on the internet once said, sell. So, quirky Gundam series and real-grade model kits sell, but could they be considered art? Rupert Maas, an English painting specialist, gallery owner, and Antiques Roadshow presenter, once said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that, quote, art is something that serves no other purpose other than itself. But real-grade kits do serve a purpose other than themselves, to make Bandai money and prolong the Gundam franchise, which from a financial perspective can no longer be considered Bandai's only money faucet. Speaking to Nikkei Asian Review in July of 2019, Bandai Namco president Mitsuaki Taguchi said, quote, "We will be fine for at least 10 more years, but if we don't start creating new content now, our future beyond then may be at risk." End quote. The company is looking to diversify, which might explain the existence of perfect-grade Millennium Falcons and real-grade EVA 1s today. These lines expand, but what remains clear is that their names mean something. What that something is difficult to define. They aren't just toys you would pick up and play with like some less expensive high grades, nor are they strictly objects of artistic expression like some kit bashes. And yet, I don't think Mr. Imagawa would say that his famed series was void of artistic value just because he was directed to make a different kind of series to satisfy the bottom line. If we go back to that Otaku USA interview, he says the following a few months after that initial publication when referring to the militaristic real robot style of other Gundam series, that he's, quote, "glad G Gundam didn't get sucked into that big Gundam gravity well," end quote. His work of art was born out of the restrictive nature of the suits writing the checks, and by all accounts, he seems rather proud of it. Restrictions breed creativity, to quote Mark Rosewater of Magic the Gathering fame, and creativity in and of itself is a form of artistic expression. Of all the model kit lines Bandai has produced, the real grade line is clearly the most restrictive. The advanced MS joint frame, even while reduced in scope in more recent entries to the line, is thus far a requirement for every kit in the line. Vast sticker sheets, color separation measured in shades rather than just different colors, multiple points of articulation in each limb, all miniaturized in a diminutive 1/144 scale package, are the restrictions that make the line stand out above all others. They're built and best posed with care, ready for your ever-shrinking shelf space as a monument to a job well done. Yet it isn't the kit that becomes art by the simple act of existing. Much like a paintbrush isn't an art piece on its own, real grade is a tool set for artists to create art. Bandai's engineers are challenged with every real grade to do something new and exciting, which we haven't seen yet in a 1/144 scale kit. The restriction of their small size makes it all the more challenging to create something that pushes the limit of what's possible at this scale. And naturally, some of those attempts will fail, something inherent to any artistic endeavor. We as builders are challenged with the same restrictions, and in some ways are encouraged to take the engineer's work and deviate from the original plan, like a long-distance collaboration between different kinds of hobbyists. And it's that creative nature, finding where the restrictions set out by the engineers and the line's very design can be bent to the creator's needs, that drives the desire to make real grades, more so than any other in Bandai's lineup, a vehicle for artistic expression, whether it be creating the perfect finished product or the ultimate miniaturized canvas for your giant robot masterpiece. Real grades themselves are not art, nor are the machinations of the accountants keeping the shows afloat. But your real grade is, because your spirit makes it so. Even if your art is just bad Gunpla. See you next time. Oh hey! You actually stuck around to the end. Thanks for following directions, you little scamp. I'm Jason, I build Bad Gunpla, and I want to give a quick channel update since it's been about a month since I put out a video. I've gotten feedback in the past that doing like little separate channel videos kind of like throws off the rhythm of the channel, and I kind of agree with that, so I'm going to try to do this at the end of videos going forward instead of doing like updates on separate videos. I just think it makes more sense. Two things I wanted to talk about. First off, thanks for the overwhelming support of the last video, Quarantine Gunpla. I wasn't really sure how a thinky piece like that was going to go over, but the feedback has been really, really good, and I really appreciate that. Next video is going to be on lighting, which ironically the lighting right now in this part of the video is not that great because I'm wearing black and darkness and everything's dark behind me. We're going to talk about ways to make your lighting setup better for your photography now that we have Contest Gunpla Re-Rise being a thing. Expect that video, what's today? The 4th? Right. That's awkward. It's the 4th right now, so expect that on Saturday the 18th. And the reason you can expect that is because of our Patreon, patreon.com/badgunpla. I did decide to reboot the Patreon, and there's a couple reasons for that. The fact of the matter is I'm having a lot of fun doing videos, but the footage was starting to get, at least in my opinion, a little samey, and this is just something that I've noticed with the videos that I've been making. I feel like they're starting to kind of have the same vibe, and the only way that I can really improve on that is if I have a little bit of a budget for my videos. Go back to the Perfect Grade Exia video, right? How I shot that at Waveform Austin here in Austin, Texas. Great little place. It does cost money to rent out photo studios to do stuff like that. And it's not uncommon for places that rent themselves out for photography and video to charge anywhere between $100 and $300 an hour to use the space. That's normal going rate for these things. Just because I'm smaller doesn't mean that they're going to cut me a deal or anything like that. So I'm really hopeful that you guys are willing to help out with that. Any funds that do go towards the Patreon at patreon.com/badgunpla, link in the description below because I'm a filthy capitalist, that will all go towards production costs such as location rental, any sort of audio or video licensing that I'd like to get into. I remember back when I was working on the Sananju Unicorn series that I was considering licensing some old newsreels from those years of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and it turns out that the cost on that is $680 per minute per year. So if I wanted to use 1 minute of footage, I would need to pay this company $680 a year just to do it legally. I'm not begging for money. At the end of the day, I'm still going to do cool videos no matter what. But if you want to help take those to the next level, I would seriously, seriously appreciate it. The commitment was once we hit $100 a month that I will commit to putting out a video every other week. We've already hit that, and I really, really appreciate it. The support has been awesome. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Check out Contest Gunpla Re-Rise. I put out a video about that the other day. That is our new photography competition. Link again in the description to our Discord where you can join that competition. And that's really all I got. Like, subscribe, etc. See you soon.